Write out and explain in your own words the essence of marriage. In one sentence, write out the purpose for which marriage exists that you're living into in this moment if you're married, or looking forward to if you're currently single hoping to be married. List out in no particular order the practical blessings that come with the essence and purpose of marriage. Bonus points if it aligns with God's mind and heart for marriage. How'd you do? It's interesting to note that people get divorced and then criticize marriage when most couldn't write a single intelligent paragraph describing the essence and nature of marriage as God designed it, the purpose for which He gave it, and the blessings that would flow were they to believe that it was true and live into it. Friends, the problem isn't marriage. The problem is always us. If you're in a horrible marriage right now, but you're willing to humble yourself and work towards God's design, good news, it's going to get stronger and better. And if you're a young person hoping to get married one day, take hope. Don't look at the broken marriages around you. Look at the design of God and get excited about what He might have for you in a marriage relationship. If you're not in a stronger marriage, I believe it can become stronger. If you're currently in a stronger marriage, that's amazing, but it can be stronger tomorrow. The nature of marriage is that it is always by God's grace getting better and stronger, which means if you're in a wonderfully happy marriage, 37 years in, here's the good news, it's going to get better. What I'm going to teach as the biblical essence of marriage is seen today by our culture as patriarchal, antiquated views on relationships that modern man has moved past. Our culture is currently saying, these are the bunker busters of marriage, man. Our marriage just couldn't survive this attack. Number one, lack of family support or intrusive family involvement. You think you might be helping your kids and you might be torpedoing them. Get out of their business and let them grow up. Number two, infidelity or extramarital affairs. Lack of compatibility personality-wise. Lack of intimacy. Too much conflict or arguing. Substance abuse. And then at the very, very bottom, 3%. Domestic violence, physical or emotional. I say that because what I'm going to say about marriage this morning is wildly controversial. And I don't say that for clickbait. I say that as a reality of the world that you live in. The culture will rise up and say, that's oppressive. Those are oppressive authority structures put in place by religion to control people and create an abusive environment for you. Less than 3% of marriages say they ended because of, quote, physical or emotional or sexual abuse. I'm not saying there are not horrific exceptions. What I am saying, we don't teach to the exception, we teach to the standard. And we're going to teach to the standard of God, and where there are horrific aberrations and exceptions, there is a prophetic word for that situation. But by and large, about 97% of us are in situations that don't require the exception. They require a law. The biblical answer for what is the essence and purpose and blessing of marriage, the culture would say, that's toxic, that's patriarchal, that's antiquated, that's oppressive structures for abusive power systems we put in place. Isn't it amazing that Satan has nothing new to say in relationship to trying to attack marriage because he's got no answer for God's plan? It's the same thing he said in Genesis. You know that, right? Can you really trust God? Can you really trust that He has your best in mind? This feels kind of abusive to me. This feels like He's kind of cut you out here. Friends, there are no new lies. So the pressing question is, the other person still holding up their end of the deal? The priority is the rights of the individual, and the primary orientation is, say it, self, as it evaluates the performance of the other. You're defining marriage as a piece of paper that you think you're above because you are the pillar of moral integrity, as proven by how much you love your seventh girlfriend. You're a joke. That's what you are. You should laugh right there. I'm a joke. We're a joke if we think marriage is a piece of paper obligating us to a relationship that we wish we could get out of. Marriage is not casual. The world says, hey, have casual relationships, casual sex, nothing on the line, no responsibility, no strings attached, just casual come and go. That is not the nature of marriage. Nor is marriage a relationship of convenience. If it works for me and works for you, we'll stay here. If it stops being convenient for you, you're free to go. If it stops being convenient for me, I'm going to leave. Marriage is not casual in its nature and essence, nor is it a relationship of convenience. Neither is it a consumer relationship where I'm going to come to this relationship and what I'm looking for is what I can get out of it. And as soon as I stop getting out of it what I want, I'm moving on. We live in a consumer-based society, right? Whatever you want, you deserve to have as fast as humanly possible, delivered to your doorstep in as cheap a manner as capitalism can deliver. If someone or something is brought into the exclusive covenant relationship or brought between the two who are in a covenant relationship, it is always and only destructive, including pornography on a screen. Well, there's not really anybody in the room. Yeah, right. Yeah. We're just using technology to do what either we can't afford to do financially to go pay someone, or we don't have the guts to go ask someone. So we're going to bring other people into our marriage bed, into our covenant relationship, and that causes the same destruction as if those people were actually in that room, flesh and blood. It is an exclusive relationship between one man and one woman, enacted by God, period. And the two shall become one flesh. Not the three. This isn't a throuple thing. This isn't every once in a while. No. In the design of God, when his laws are being lived out, of preeminence and now of promise, when marriage is attacked or when marriage goes through trial and tragedy, if the husband and wife are living under the lordship of Jesus, that marriage actually gets sweeter and stronger and deeper and more intimate. It's a profound mystery how this thing could get shelled and attacked and burned and run over and just get stronger. You need to have a purpose for your marriage that is bigger than the stress or the attack that will come on your marriage. If you do not have a purpose for your marriage that is bigger and weightier and more important than the attacks that will come against your marriage and the tragedy that may strike your marriage will not hold, it will fold. In a marriage relationship where Christ is preeminent and we're coming to offer ourselves in service with a full bucket, not coming as a consumer to take, then love covers over a multitude of sins, and you're in an intimate relationship with someone who knows you fully and loves you deeply because they're not keeping track of your wrongs. Because you, by nature, tend to keep records of the wrong things that people closest to you do. And if you get in that habit, it's exhausting, isn't it? You're like, actually, I'm pretty good at it. Yeah, you're good at sinning. And in marriage, we're freed to not keep track of the wrongdoing because we have a commitment to forgive the sin of our spouse. Now, if there's ongoing egregious sin, breaking laws, breaking God's laws, breaking man's laws, becoming abusive, heavy-handed, sexually, okay, let's get some help here. Let's intervene decisively to make that stop right now. I've entered into a contract with the bank to borrow my house from them for 30 years. It's a contract, it's not a covenant, thanks be to God. So that if I were to break the contract, there would be some consequences to it, but I'd recover. It wouldn't necessarily destroy me from the inside out and wreak such emotional destruction that I'm scarred for life. And yet that's what happens in divorce. What God has joined together, let no man separate. And in that phrase, he's including mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, or the husband and wife themselves. He's saying, let no man separate this, whether it be the laws of the land, or whether it be wild ideologies of the culture, or whether it be the two humans involved in the covenant itself. Let no man separate. What God has done, let no man tear apart. And in marriage, we're given the gift and the blessing of partnering with God to further humanity and partner with God in creating other human beings that can extend the line and legacy of righteousness that God is wanting to work in our life. Week 1, the law of preeminence, Jesus first, spouse second. Week 2, the law of promise, which is essentially to say, come hell or high water, we stay. Hell, attack, high water, tragedy, we stay. Come hell or loss of compatibility or financial stress or parenting differences or infidelity or extramarital affairs. Come hell or lack of family support or intrusive in-laws. Come hell or whatever hell throws at us, whatever the hell comes, we stay. Can you imagine the kind of stability and richness that would instantly infuse into our culture? Friends, the law of promise, you put this in your gut and it will carry you through your hour of trial. Hey everybody, Pastor Josh here. If you enjoyed that clip, you can check out the full sermon right here.